Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into the weeds, digging through all the information on this huge real estate scandal involving DJ Envy and Cesar Pina. Our goal, to sort of cut through the noise and figure out the core issues here. The money, the legal mess, and honestly, the cultural clashes too.
Yeah, and it's important we don't just, look at this like any other alleged fraud case. What the sources are showing us is, well, it's a pretty powerful example of how celebrity influence works, or maybe how it's misused. And it really highlights the vulnerability of working folks just trying to get ahead. Plus, you've got this major conflict between what the law demands cooperation and what hip-hop culture sometimes expects, the code.
Okay, let's quickly lay out who's who. The main guy facing federal charges is Cesar Pina, the flipping NJ personality. Prosecutors are saying he ran, I think the term was a Ponzi-like investment fraud scheme.
Right. And working with him, promoting him for years, was Rashawn Casey, DJ Envy, the radio host everyone knows. They did dozens of these real estate seminars together, framed as educational.
And the scale.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling when you start looking at the numbers.
It really is. The government alleges this scheme ripped off dozens, maybe hundreds of investors. Some documents mention losses around, $40 million? But then you hear other estimates from victims, from the bankruptcy stuff, pushing it way higher, maybe $50 million, maybe even over $100 million. That huge range tells you how tangled this whole thing became.
Right. Tangled feels like the right word. And this wasn't some quick hit, was it? This partnership between Pina and Envy went on for a while. How long exactly? And how did they actually pull people in?
Well, it looks like roughly 5 years. Started around late 2018, kept going right up until things really blew up in 2023. And the main vehicle, these from start to flip real estate seminars. But the real engine, the reason they had such incredible reach, was DJ Envy's platform.
The Breakfast Club.
Exactly. Promoting these things constantly on a show syndicated to, over 90 markets? That's nationwide exposure.
Yeah, that's the trust factor right there, isn't it? That promotion. Our sources show that very first seminar, back in October 2018 in Paterson, New Jersey, it pulled in like 500 people.
500 people for the first one.
Right. So if they did maybe 50 or more of these across the country over 5 years, you're talking about a constant stream of potential investors being funneled towards Pina.
A stream that led straight into deals now at the center of these really heavy federal charges against Pina. 2 counts of wire fraud, conspiracy for money laundering, even bribery related to federal funds. And just so you get how serious this is, those wire fraud charges. Each one could mean up to 20 years in federal prison.
Well, okay, 20 years per count, that's heavy. But beyond the legal side, the human impact, that's where the story gets really tough. Let's talk about the investors. Who were these people? Why did they jump in?
Yeah, this is maybe the most important part to grasp. This wasn't about targeting, Wall Street types or sophisticated investors looking for risky plays. No, the lawsuits, the interviews with victims, they consistently describe them as working class folks, ordinary people.
Like teachers, drivers.
Exactly. Teachers, nurses, truck drivers, people who saw real estate as maybe their only shot at building some real financial stability, maybe breaking a cycle.
And they weren't just investing pocket change, right? This was serious money for them.
Oh, absolutely. People were pooling money from family, taking out mortgages on their homes, even raiding their 401ks, their retirement accounts. I mean, everything they had was put on the line.
You see that devastation in the quotes. There was one victim, Erica Costa, who basically said the losses just killed me completely financially. He had to take out huge loans just to cover the fallout.
And that fallout, that trust, it was so often linked directly to DJ Envy. Anthony Martini, another plaintiff, I think he invested $1.5 million.
$1.5 million.
Yeah. And he was very clear. DJ Envy promoting this on The Breakfast Club was the reason he believed it was safe, that it was legitimate. So across almost all the victim stories you read, the theme is trust through celebrity. Envy's reputation, his national profile, that was the due diligence for so many people.
Okay, but DJ Envy himself says, hey, I'm a victim too. He claims he lost $500,000, $500,000, and insists he was just the educator, the promoter, not involved in handling funds, not part of the fraud. But 5 years, dozens of events. Does that story hold up completely? What makes people skeptical?
Well, that's where you have to start asking questions about just basic business sense, right? A partnership running that long with that many events, that many people involved, and allegedly millions of dollars flowing, it kind of suggests either an almost unbelievable lack of awareness or maybe turning a blind eye. You'd think a businessman with Envy's experience would, you know, check in on how things were actually working in such a big public venture he was tied to.
And there's more concrete legal stuff too, right?
Yeah, definitely. He's actually named as a co-defendant in, I think, at least 9 civil lawsuits. But maybe even more telling is what happened in the bankruptcy court proceedings connected to Pina's businesses. Back in December 2023, a federal judge actually ordered Envy to hand over documents, and when he apparently didn't, the judge hit him with sanctions for contempt of court.
Contempt of court, that sounds serious. They even threatened arrest.
Exactly. Threatening arrest over documents. That's not something you see every day in a civil case. It strongly suggests the court felt he was deliberately holding back, maybe obstructing the process of figuring out where the money went. It certainly makes his narrative of being just another cooperative victim, well, more complicated.
Okay, so that's Envy's side and the questions around it. What about Pina, the guy actually facing the criminal charges? What's his defense?
Pina's consistently denied running a Ponzi scheme. His line is basically that these lawsuits are just the normal bumps and bruises you get in real estate development, risks inherent to the business.
But here's the twist, right? Pina, while facing all this heat himself, actually defended DJ Envy publicly.
He did, which is fascinating, isn't it? Here's Pina looking at potentially decades in prison, and he makes a point of saying Envy had nothing to do with the bad deals, that Envy should be cleared. Now, is that genuine loyalty between partners? Or is it maybe a calculated move? Keep Envy on side, maybe discourage him from cooperating too much with the feds against Pina? Hard to say for sure.
And that tension loyalty versus what the law requires brings us right to this really tricky cultural aspect, the whole no snitching idea, the code in hip-hop.
It puts Envy in a really tough spot because on one side you have his lawyer back in October 2023 stating very clearly that Envy would be assisting and cooperating fully with the federal investigation, which, makes sense if you see yourself as a victim trying to get justice.
But then, later, didn't Envy seem to push back against that when someone basically called him a snitch?
Exactly. He seemed to deny cooperating in that moment. And that really shows the tightrope he's trying to walk, because cooperating with the feds, even if you are a victim and aren't charged yourself, can still be seriously damaging to your reputation in that community.
So you've got the accused guy, Pina, publicly showing loyalty, while the alleged victim, Envy, is cooperating with the authorities behind the scenes. What does that do to Envy's image long term?
I think it's incredibly damaging, culturally speaking. The irony is just stark. Pina, the one accused of fraud, facing prison time, looks like he's sticking to the code. Meanwhile, Envy, the supposed victim wanting his money back, has to work with the system, potentially breaking that same code in the eyes of many fans and peers.
It goes beyond just snitching, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It touches on ideas of hypocrisy, maybe. Like, you benefit hugely from the community's trust, build your brand on it, but then when things go south, you don't follow the community's unwritten rules. This contrast, Pina showing loyalty, Envy cooperating that narrative, is likely going to stick no matter how the legal cases end. Sure, losing $500 helps his victim claim and he's got mainstream fame, but that cultural hit, that's real.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The sheer size of the operation, the heartbreaking impact on everyday people who lost everything, the legal pressure cooker with contempt charges, and this really complex clash between legal needs and cultural rules.
Yeah, and the court cases, both civil and criminal, they'll keep grinding on. But the big question hanging over it all, especially concerning celebrity partnerships, is still there. Was DJ Envy just the famous face who unfortunately lost money like everyone else? Or, after 5 years, was there some level of willful blindness to a massive scheme that was also, let's be honest, boosting his own profile in business ventures?
And for you listening, thinking about how much weight we put on celebrity endorsements, Envy said he was promoting education. So where should the line be? Between promoting learning and essentially endorsing a financial product where people risk their life savings based almost entirely on trust in the promoter.
It really throws a spotlight on the immense power celebrities have, especially when they target communities hungry for real ways to build wealth. That power comes with responsibility, doesn't it?
So here's a final thought to chew on. In this digital world, where influencers sell us everything from diet shakes to complex investments online, who's really responsible for checking things out? Does all the due diligence fall only on the investor? Or does someone like DJ Envy, with a huge long-term national platform, carry some kind of financial, maybe even moral liability when a venture they heavily promoted for years turns out to be a massive alleged fraud? Something for you to mull over.